Hello and welcome to Zestology, the podcast all about energy, vitality and motivation. I'm Tony Wrighton. I may be about to make you very slightly jealous. As you can probably hear, I'm not in London today, but I'm walking along a very warm beach in Thailand. It's only 9 o'clock in the morning and it's already probably 26 degrees. And as you know, I like to record the introductions to this podcast kind of walking around. Normally it's a very cold London day, but here the Gulf of Thailand water is just gently lapping against my ankles as I record this podcast introduction. So there you go, that's the humble brag out of the way, and that's where I am at the moment. And if you've been listening to the last couple of weeks, I've recorded a couple of podcasts out here. One in a meditation retreat in paradise, which did not quite go to plan. That was last week, so you might want to listen to that one. This week is with absolute friend of the show, Brett Moran. He's been on before. I know he's a favourite of yours, judging by the feedback. He's a very successful author who is absolutely walking the walk over here, living an incredible life, especially where you consider where he was 15, 20 years ago. In prison multiple times, living a life of crime and generally getting involved in all sorts of mischief that ultimately wasn't serving him very well. So Brett Moran is on again. This week we specifically talk about distraction. Distraction is such a theme on this podcast. It's been really in my head the last few weeks, being out here and thinking about how I can increase my focus and productivity, but also just the kind of depth of the things that I do, because I know that when I get distracted by email or Instagram or anything that isn't the thing that I'm doing at that moment, not only do I not do such good work, I'm not as happy either. Now over here, Brett is writing his second book at the moment, and it turns out that he's kind of developed this system for not getting distracted, which I think you might struggle to do, but wow, if you could do it, what changes would there be in your life? So we talk quite a bit about distraction in this podcast, and I hope it helps. Now, at the end of the podcast, I'm going to come back and I wanted to ask you one question, because one of the great things about being over here is you have all this kind of space and time to think, and I've been feeling very creative over the last few weeks. And Dr. Steve, who's been on the podcast a few times, have been working on a potential new project. And I want to ask you a question that might help with this project. So at the end of the podcast, I'm going to come back, ask you a question. If you want to get in touch with me and answer that question, that would massively help with the project. So that's at the end of the podcast. For now, here is Brett Moran on Zestology. Right, we're recording, and it's an absolute tropical downpour. This isn't. I mean, I guess that's what you expect. We are in a tropical island, but it's a huge downpour at the moment. I hope you can kind of hear us. Is this normal?
This is every single day. This is why I've come here. No, I'm joking. No, not really, but it's going to last for about 20 minutes and then it's going to be over. This is why I love it, because like if you're at home in England, it's rainy and it's miserable, it's wet, but it stays for the whole day. In Thailand, it's like a cloud. You can literally see the cloud going over your head, and then it stops raining.
Yeah. You actually can. It will stop while we're recording, I think. Brett, it's so good to see you. It's been great hanging out for the last week or so. What's brought you here?
It's been good to hang out with you, Tony, as well, mate. It's been amazing. It's really nice. It's nice to have conversations and just chill out. What's brought me here is that I'm writing my second book. So I am on the north of the island, a really, really quiet place, and I'm just here for 3 months, having a holiday from the other tropical island that I live on, Koh Samui, and I'm writing a book. So yeah, getting away from distractions, if I'm honest, and I'm really focused, got a nice little routine and some structure going, and every day I wake up, write my book, practice my yoga, and hopefully in 3 months I'll have the book done. Good. And I'm glad you mentioned distraction, because that was a topic that I wanted to talk about a little bit today. But just before we get onto that, at the moment we're sitting actually on mine. We've got a little kind of bungalow, I guess you'd call it, with a sea view, and at the moment all we can see is like this huge rainstorm going out, and we're just kind of getting pelted by little bits of rain, but we're pretty much dry under this balcony, aren't we? But I've been over to your place, which is gorgeous. I mean, it's a great life you've got here, and it's so cheap as well, isn't it? Yeah, it is ridiculously cheap, mate. Especially if you live like me as well. You know, I don't drink, I don't go out and party. I eat fresh fruit every day. I drink loads of coconuts. You know, and if you live that way, super cheap.
Isn't your rent about £10 a day or something?
I can't remember how much it is. It's about, I think for 3 months it's around £1,000 for 3 months, and it's how many, 20-30 footsteps away from the beach?
Yeah,
from the ocean.
It's gorgeous.
It's literally ocean view.
Yeah,
it's a 1-bedroom apartment, but it does me.
You've got everything set up. Obviously, you're a yoga teacher. You love yoga. You've got that. We went to an ecstatic dance party last night, which is brilliant, completely out there and crazy. There's some sauna where you can go and jump in a cold lake afterwards or something? What's the sauna?
The dome place?
Yeah, what's the dome?
Yeah. I've not been there myself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
no, I've not been there.
So we're going to do that before
we do that Monday night before you leave. But
mate,
they've got like these saunas, but you look underneath the stars.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to that one as well, mate.
And there's quite a little. I think one of the things that I've found when I've been away for more than 2 weeks at a time is I've wondered. I've missed my little circle in London. My people, my family, my friends.
Yeah.
But there's a right little community going on here as well, isn't there?
Yeah. There's loads. You can really, and there's different little communities like we were just talking about at lunch. There's different little cliques that you can get involved in if you want. And I think if you got involved in them, you could just completely get lost. You could have many different experiences of what this place is all about.
Yeah.
From the tantra community to the yoga community to the vegan community to the full moon party community. People, you could just come in, find your little clique, and then get completely lost. Which I love. If I'm honest, I just like to sort of do my own thing. So I'm in my own little clique, and I can dip in and out of them and not get too carried away. Back to distractions.
The tantra community. You said.
I wondered how many minutes are we?
About 3.5.
Yeah. That's slow for you.
There's a lot of that going on here, isn't there?
Lots of it, Tony. Yeah. Again, to be honest with you, I've kind of kept myself away from it because it can be a big distraction. But it's there if you want it. Whatever you want, I think, is in Koh Phangan.
I was sitting next to this. I think I might have told you already. This big group of people yesterday in a cafe having breakfast, and this guy asks the group, "Do you guys know anywhere I could book? I need somewhere where 20 of us can go and get naked."
Brilliant. Did you make it 21?
I was like, I'll come. Hello.
Yeah, there's a lot of that out there if you want it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you haven't got. He hasn't got involved in that, listeners.
No, I have not. No.
So there's a lot of potential distraction then.
Yeah.
But you are managing to kind of steer clear of that. You've got a little routine going on. Is that important to you?
Very important. Yeah. I've done a lot of courses online. Like I've attended the courses online on procrastination and productivity, and I think for me, I don't know about you or anybody else listening, but one of the hardest things about achieving a project or a goal, or for me writing a book, is sitting down and actually doing the work. We've all got creativity, we've all got these ideas and these dreams, and we're filled with them. But the hardest thing sometimes is to actually just sit still and do them. And I think the brain, I was reading some kind of study, the brain actually sends off certain chemicals inside the brain when you've got a new project. You write it down, you get really, really excited, all the endorphin flows around in the brain, and it's like a little bit of a buzz, it's like a little drug. But then, the next day, you've got to put in the work, like write chapter 1, or write, structure the book, and then the brain gets a bit bored of that, because it's lost its little initial hit, it's like initial fix. And years ago, I used to be going from one project to the next project, from one thing to the next thing, and I worked out it's still my addictive personality, which is addicted by the excitement, the buzz of starting something new, but then sitting down and actually following through and completing something. My brain was like, it switched off. But now, going back to where I am in my routine, thankfully I've got a nice little routine where I just have to keep my mobile phone switched off until 5 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
I have no internet where I am. I keep everything switched off until today, obviously, because I'm kind of at you. And then I do my yoga practice. I go for a swim in the morning, have my coconuts, have my fruit, and then for so many hours a day, that is my writing slot. And at the moment, I think it's just like any habit. It's become automatic.
Right.
Yeah.
So what time do you wake up in the morning?
I wake up between 6 and 8. I wake up between 6 and 8, do my gratitude lists, write out my goals, do my visualizations, do a little meditation, and then I'll grab my yoga mat and go and sit on the beach and then practice yoga.
And then you start working about 12.
So I start working for 12. So in my head, this is how I've worked it out. For me personally, and I think any company or business or anybody, I just think you're more productive when you're in that right flowing zone. I don't know about anyone else, but I know for me, if my brain is not on Instagram, if I'm not checking Facebook at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, if I'm meditating on love and peace, and if I'm practicing and moving my energy and my body through like yoga, then I'm going to be super productive. So what I've told myself is that I don't start work until 12 o'clock, and from when I open my eyes until 12 o'clock, that is Brett's time to do my practices. I can do a handstand if I want, I can go for a swim, I can go for a motorbike ride, I can do anything I want, but until 12 o'clock I'm not on social media, I'm not getting bogged down with emails, I'm doing something that makes me feel alive, that just kind of like ignites my energy naturally.
Yeah.
And then from 12 o'clock, then I'll put all that energy that I've just created in the morning into my project, which at the moment is writing.
By the way, it's bloody annoying. I can't get in touch with you until 5 o'clock every evening.
Yeah, that's why. But you know, I used to be so addicted to replying to these emails and doing this, and then all of a sudden I think it was Tim Ferriss said, you know, put an autoresponder on or auto reply on to say that, you know, you're out of town, you'll reply within 48 hours. And do you know what, Tony? I've realised this time how distracted and how addicted we are to these screens and to replying to these emails. And you know, when I check everything at 5 o'clock, there might be 1 or 2 emails. The world's still spinning. Yeah. I've not missed out on anything, and I've gained so much. So even if I wasn't writing a book and living on this island, I think it's probably one of the best techniques I could share with anyone is to just maybe take a break from this digital kind of this digital world. I love it. I love my technology. I've got my drones. I've got my phone. But I've realised that I feel like I've got my life back again by having a break from it to work on this project, and it's something I'm going to keep now in my life, like not checking the phone till like late afternoon at least.
The distraction thing it's such a theme over the last few years for me, actually. It really is hard, even on holiday, not to get distracted. You know, if I'm going to arrange to meet with you, I need to use my phone. Some of these bloody
tantra places you keep going.
Well, that is a distraction as well. Trust me, I'm in the moment when I'm doing that. No, I'm far too timid to get involved in all that. You know me.
If only you could see his face.
What...
So you say even on holiday, distracted on holiday life?
No, I just started thinking about tantra.
It's gone.
I do think that the distraction is one of the biggest issues, and it's been something that's on my mind. You know, I've been listening to this guy that you recommended that I listen to, Eben Pagan, and he was talking about distraction. And he said, I don't know whether this is a scientific study or something that is even quantifiable, but he said, when you're focused in something that involves deep thought and you get distracted by something else, so that might be an email or the phone ringing or whatever, it takes 25 minutes for your brain to get back to that level of deep thought that you were on before.
Yeah, back in the zone.
Which I think probably sounds about right.
Yeah, I totally agree. The lady that I learnt from, she was an author, and she basically said your brain is like a computer, and you've got all these programs and these folders, and as soon as you open those programs and folders in the morning, and by opening them, I mean like maybe you check your Facebook or you check your Instagram or you check your emails, that is opening a program. You've got to use some energy, then you're in this folder, social media folder. And as soon as you start opening them in folders, it's so hard to come back into the zone and be productive because your brain is open. It's like, you know, and that's just one. You could then bring your friend up and talk about loads of tantra. You could talk, you know, you could go and do something completely different. You've got like 10 folders open before you've even started on your project. And so for me, I totally agree with Evan Pagan. It takes me ages, and I kind of now know, as soon as I turn my phone on in the evening, like 4 or 5 o'clock, as soon as I turn that phone on, I'm probably not going to be doing any more writing or working on my project.
Yeah.
And then I actually do, one thing I want to say to people is that I actually do give myself an hour just to kind of indulge in crap online. I scroll through like Instagram, I look at pictures, I post stuff up. It's not that I'm completely banned myself from it. I think if you take it away from you, it becomes like some kind of problem. But it's like for an hour I indulge in it, but again, as soon as I come back off of it, I'm bored of it again. It's like there's nothing there for me anymore.
It's when it's more useful, especially if you're a creator like you are, it's more useful for creating than consuming, isn't it? And actually, I found that with Instagram. Whilst I'm over here, I was like, do you know what? I don't need to look at Instagram, so I've deleted it off my phone.
Nice.
And then the other day, I wanted to post something about the latest podcast that come out, so I was just going to install it. For 20 minutes, post, and then delete it again. But the Wi-Fi is so bad here, I can't install it. So that's it now until I go home.
That's a good thing, right? All these little things, I've done them in the past, you know, deleted them, took them off my phone.
There's a great app called Freedom. Have you heard of Freedom? I told you about it, didn't I?
Tell me about this one, yeah.
And that basically, you can block anything you want on your phone, apart from 2 things, Facebook and Instagram.
Brilliant.
Because Facebook and Instagram, their developers are so good that they've put in code that means that apps like Freedom won't work around it.
Perfect, mate.
Well, it's annoying.
Yeah, well,
because if you could block Instagram, because I want to use my phone in the morning in case I need to meet someone, but I don't even want that temptation there. If I want to open Instagram, I want my phone to not let me.
Yeah.
But can't do that.
I remember the first kind of app like that I got. I deleted myself from Facebook, from emails, from absolutely everything. And I was so chuffed, so over the moon that I got this app that could bar me from everything. I wanted to post it and tell everyone on Facebook about it, but I couldn't get in because I butt myself. And it was one of those dumbfounded moments where I just went, that is the whole point of it.
So we kind of talked about your story a little bit on the last time we recorded a podcast, which was at the festival in the summer. But it is an amazing story that's brought you here. From obviously you were in prison for a while, and you were, more than a bit of a tearaway, weren't you?
A little bit.
But just kind of briefly go over everything that's led you to this point. How did you arrive here
in Thailand?
Yeah.
So I used to come to Thailand,
but not just in Thailand, but doing your gratitudes and your meditations and
being a little softy, a little woo-woo.
Yeah, and going and not switching your phone on until 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
That's quite a journey.
Yeah. It's been an amazing journey, really, and I feel like I've only just started. It's like now writing these books and learning about productivity and starting businesses. It's like it's all new again. It's like something new. But yeah, I used to come to Thailand many years ago for all the wrong reasons, if I'm really honest. For the drugs. There's a drug out here called yaba, which is like an amphetamine drug. Like the Thai people take it, but they say it's the crazy drug, so they don't sell it to people. If you get arrested with it, you're like spending life in prison. It's like, and I was absolutely hooked on it when I first came over here. Like prostitutes, I used to go to all the go-go bars and sleep with girls, drunk for like days, just days and days on end, and everything was just a blur. And then obviously, as I said in the last podcast, I went to prison, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I found a book on meditation and mindfulness.
Not a Thai prison. You went back home.
Back to England. So I used to come here, get absolutely smashed for a week, for a month, go home, didn't even remember half of the holiday, go to like the same bar, and then go back to England in this kind of like comatized kind of state. And then I went to prison, obviously, found this book, best thing that ever happened to me. And then I went back to Thailand again, and I think ever since I found that first book, as spooky as it kind of sounds, something has been guiding me.
That was the book on meditation.
It's a book on meditation. Yeah. Like, if anyone knows me, I'm not a religious person. I love the spiritual stuff. I'm from a council estate. I'm still a very grounded person. I listen to all these beliefs and this stuff. But there is something that's kind of inside me or above me. Something's guiding me, like your intuition or higher self, whatever you want to label it. I'm not into labels. And then I went back to Thailand and I met this Thai girl. And like, it just felt like I was meant to meet her. She took me to a Buddhist temple, and my intuition, my guide, basically told me to get down on my hands and knees and start praying for help. And so I did, and that was like my second experience after prison of like spirituality, if you want to call it that. And ever since then, Tone, for like 16 years, I've just been following that higher self, that intuition. But to me, it's just common sense. If I go out and get drunk now, or I go out and sleep with people and do all these horrible things, I'm going to feel like shit in the end. It might be great for a little while, a little fix, artificial fix or a quick fix, but after a while, I feel crap. I feel depressed. And so for me, it was common sense. Stop doing all the stuff that's making you feel bad, Brett. Start doing the things that make you feel good. And so then, to cut a long story short, now I ended up as a yogi, vegan, bloody productivity dude that's trying to write a book. It's because, if I'm really honest, it makes me feel good. If it didn't make me feel good, if I still enjoyed taking drugs, I'd still be taking drugs, but I just don't. If that makes sense. And I do feel like something is guiding me as well
presumably in the moment you did actually enjoy taking drugs, but long term it didn't serve you.
Mate, when I was like 16, I think maybe 15, I went to Ibiza for the first time, took loads of ecstasy pills, had sex with beautiful girls. It was like the best holiday I'd ever had in my life. I'm not, and whenever I go and speak to young people in prisons or people on drugs, I never say drugs are bad. I think you're silly. If you say to somebody, don't take something, they're going to take it even more. And so I'm not saying don't take drugs, I'm not saying do take drugs, but after like the excitement and the Ibiza holidays sort of disappeared, addiction kicked in. And then when I was like 19, I was smoking crack, I was addicted to cocaine, even younger than that, 18 I think, I was addicted to crack cocaine. And then when addiction takes in and you basically need it, that's when the fun completely disappears. Yeah. You're not out with your mates having large, you're at home locked in the cupboard in case there's spaceships coming to get you and you're all paranoid.
God. Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned
spaceships,
digital phones and addictions earlier on.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because I do think that, I mean, like you, I think I've got a very addictive personality. And one of the things I'm addicted to is I'm interested in everything.
Yeah.
So I can spend a couple of hours on, I don't know, the Guardian's website or researching nanobots or something like that. And before I know it, I've wasted 2 hours and it hasn't actually helped me. I don't need to know about nanobots. And it's probably a conspiracy theory anyway, do you know what I mean? It just doesn't...
Hang on, what's that behind you?
Yeah. No, you can't see a nanobot, you just swallow them, apparently. We met this guy who told us nanobots are the future, and what's going to happen is we're all going to swallow nanobots,
yeah,
and then they're going to switch to 5G on,
yeah,
and
blow us up.
The government's going to control us, because that's the kind of person you meet on this island.
Well, what about the guy we met the night before?
Oh yeah, Mason,
yeah, talking about fireballs and fairies flying around in the future. Yeah, you're right, that's the kind of people you meet in Copenhagen. No harm done, they're beautiful people. Just not really into firebots and nanobots
and nanobombs. Now, on that theme, I've got a bit of a bone to pick with you.
Go on.
There's a beach over there. By the way, it's stopped raining now. You probably hear we can hear the lapping of the waves down there, which is lovely, isn't it? And there's a beach over there where people gather at sunset.
Yeah.
And they do a little bit of drumming, and there's some singing. It's all very hippie and lovely.
Circle, yeah.
And when we went over there on our first night on the island, it was lovely, except there was a drone hovering above us, spoiling the peace. I hope you've not been spoiling the peace for people with
that. That was
drone.
actually me.
Yeah.
I've got you on YouTube. Tony dancing naked.
There's something about drones which is very unrelaxing.
Yeah. It's funny you saying that, actually. I don't know about other people that fly drones, but I get a little bit nervous sometimes before I turn it on and fly it. For a number of reasons. Number one, I don't want to crash it because it's bloody expensive.
Yeah.
But number two, I don't want to kill anyone's kind of buzz, anyone's vibe.
Kill anyone.
Yeah, kill anyone, yeah. I'm not worried about killing anyone. I've got insurance. But I don't want to kill anyone's buzz, and disturb their peace. So I totally get what you're saying. However, with that said, the shots that I get from my YouTube videos and my vlogs are amazing.
I've seen them.
So, yeah, suck it up. And could be worse, it could be a nanobot.
And all that said, I do kind of want to come and have a play with your drone.
You want to play with my drone?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Anytime.
So also being over here serves a dual purpose, because as well as being an author, you're a yoga teacher.
Yeah.
And you run retreats over here as well, don't you?
Yes.
And you've got this amazing spot, and I know I've got a couple of friends who've been on your retreats, where you run retreats, and it's easy for you, so you're here, so you know you can sort out all the best stuff, best places for people to stay, best coconuts to drink on the beach and massage and everything else. You can sort that out from here.
Yeah. I think that's for me, it's not just about coming to a Brett Moran yoga retreat and practicing yoga and chanting Om all day. It's the whole environment, it's the experience. Like, as soon as you get off the plane in Thailand, it feels amazing. It's a break from the hustle and bustle. You escape the kind of stress of the city, and then you just the environment is transformational just as much as my yoga retreats. So something that's really important for me is that we do our yoga, but I take people out for massages, I take them out on little excursions, we go snorkeling, we go over to these little islands where there's nobody on these islands, and we've got our own little island, and we're just chilling out for the day. And I think it's just, at the moment, I think it's so needed in the world. People just take that time out just for themselves, just to kind of relax, just to maybe ask a few questions, learn a few meditation, or maybe reconnect to their body if they want to kind of like get a bit healthy, and then just the environment just heals just as much.
Yeah.
And Thailand, for me, these islands are beautiful.
Yeah, we're on Koh Phangan now. I have found this environment. It's taken me a few weeks, but so creative.
Yeah.
I know I told you I was up in the middle of the night last night, 5 o'clock in the morning, writing stuff down, just ideas.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you get a bit of space.
100%, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, the creativity flows. What's it say when the mind is relaxed, creativity flows?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess people will experience that in your retreat as well.
Yeah, totally. I mean, some of the stories. One of the ladies that first came on the retreat, she now lives in Thailand.
Yeah.
She pays £90 a month for her property. £90 a month.
Where does she live?
She lives in Koh Samui on the jungle.
Yeah.
She's now got she's got a vegan cafe, and she's doing pretty well. And she came on one of my retreats, and I think she just came, had this idea, she wanted to change her life, and then the retreat gave her that opportunity, that space. Thailand kind of sucked her in.
That is brilliant.
And gives her the opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, I first came to Thailand 20 years ago, and loved it for completely different reasons to what I love now. In that we were out every single night, rabid partying.
6 full moon parties, you told me.
6 full moon parties I've been to.
Brilliant.
6. And what's been so nice about this trip is the fact that I've always loved Thailand. In fact, some of my mates used to take the mickey out of me saying, yeah, you're a bit Thailand obsessed, you should break out and try different stuff. And over the years I have, and I haven't been back for quite a few years now. And not that I've even gone near the place this time where they hold the full moons, but it's on this island, isn't it?
Yeah.
But where we are, Sritano in the kind of north, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It is a genuinely quiet and healing, might sound a bit hippy-dippy, but it's certainly an environment where you can get more creative and give yourself a bit of space.
Yeah, no, 100%. I don't know how true this is as well, so don't quote me on this, listeners. But somebody was hippy-dippy that told me, but their island is on crystals. So underneath the island, in the ground, it's all crystals, which makes kind of sense, right?
Wow.
If you're
not
into,
sure about that.
If you're into all that stuff, I thought we was going to go really hippy-dippy then, Tony.
Well, because I was in Bali last year,
I got
and
incense
people were
sticks
saying,
out.
hey, there's just such a magical energy about this island. I reckon anywhere where they can go and get off their heads and dance to music, they're like, oh, there's a magical energy to this island.
But I'm not off my head, and there is some kind of magical energy to this island.
Yeah. So you do that, and then you're writing.
Yes.
And how long are you going to be? You're over here all year. You're not even coming home this year, are you?
No, well, actually, I'm going to go home in November for my daughter's birthday, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and see my daughter. But I'm here until March, and then the yoga retreat is actually on the other island, Koh Samui, which is in April.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's April the 6th till the 14th. And then I'll be living in Koh Samui for 6-7 months till the end of the year.
Oh, so you're not going to come back here at that point?
No, I don't think so. I've got a team of people coming over. Actually, I'm starting a new project.
Oh, yeah, I want to talk to you about this.
Yeah, I'm starting the new project.
I think this is interesting in terms of distraction as well. Finding good people, putting in place a good team around you. You can't do it all on your own if you've got good ideas. And especially in this day and age, I think a lot of us have great ideas or are good at certain things, but everyone's got to be an expert at marketing now, and we're not quite so good at that.
Yeah.
So this is your big project for later in the year, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been studying online marketing for the last few years, and I've had a few successes with it. It's been okay, and now I like you said, I need a team of people to help me get to where I want to go.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to teach the people or share with them all the stuff that I've learned, the knowledge I've learned about marketing over the last few years, and we're all going to live together in a house with a swimming pool in Koh Samui, and they're going to be working for me. In return, they get free yoga, free food, free accommodation, and then but the ultimate thing is that we've got some kind of purpose, some mission. We're making products, we're creating this online business to help people that maybe don't get to come to Thailand, that are at home suffering, or their backs are aching, their body's stiff, so they need to do some yoga, or their mind's very busy and racing, or they're addicted to something. So we're going to create all these different online courses that we can sell and reach people at the comfort of their own home.
Well, yeah. I think you've got. I genuinely think there's a wider audience for what you do, and I really hope you find it.
I appreciate it.
I've been thinking. You mentioned prisons. Have you done much stuff in prisons?
Yeah, we literally just gave 1,000 of my books away to all the kids in prison. Yeah,
because I feel like you'd be. In fact, I can think of people who you'd be a good role model or mentor for almost.
Yeah.
And I'm sure in prisons there's a role for you there as well.
There definitely is, but there's no sand, there's no beach, and there's no coconut. I don't think you can
get
Skype. Last time I remember, there's no coconuts in the prison I was in. I feel like I've done that. I've done that. From all the healing therapies. I'm an EFT practitioner, a Reiki practitioner.
You had a choice. You could basically go to prisons or yoga studios
to look at yoga butts. The ratio in yoga studios is more women than men. In prison, it's just full on men. So you work out the maths.
Yeah. So
like I was saying, I feel like I've done that. If I'm honest, I went to prisons. I've done all the work. I've done all my motivational talks. I've done my therapy. Done my coaching. And this is the stage where I'm at now. I just always feel like you should follow where you're at. Growth. I'm always growing. I'm always developing. So I think if I was still doing the prisons now every day back in England, I think it wouldn't be me anymore. I'd be a bit stuck, and that would come out in my work.
And you've definitely got this sense of purpose, and you're setting up this house. So you are renting the house.
Yes.
And then, have you already found the people who are going to come and stay, or are you kind of in the process of doing that?
Yeah, I found 2 or 3 of them have already bought their tickets.
Wow.
So just to let the readers know, Listeners, readers, listeners. That's what happens when you're on an island.
Yeah.
I thought we was reading a book. For the last 3 years, I haven't paid no rent. So I've been living on an island paying no rent because I've done a deal, not a drug deal, but I've done an exchange, let's call it, with a guy at a yoga complex, which then gave me free rent. The house that I've got at the moment, never had the money whatsoever to rent out this huge house. I've now got the money to rent that house because I've done another deal with somebody else. All these people are coming over to work with me for free. I'm getting people to help me create a message, to share the project. And the reason why I want to say that is because, we think that we need all this life savings, we think that we need all this money, but we've all got some kind of skills. Like I went to Cambodia last year and shot a 3-minute YouTube video with my drone in exchange for 7 nights at a yoga retreat. I just emailed them and said, hey, my name's Brett, I'm a videographer. I'm not. Would you like a drone video done for your yoga retreat? They said, what do you want? How much do you want? I said, well, just give me 7 nights accommodation and free food. They gave me 7 nights accommodation, free food, and then they asked me to stay for 3 months and keep making videos. And so the reason why I want to share that with people is because sometimes you don't need the money. You've got skills. You've got some gift that you can give to the world. Think smart and just email people, and maybe you could be on this island or doing whatever you want to do in exchange for something that you've got. So I think they call it digital nomads now. We can make money online, we can live anywhere in the world, and I just think it's just the way forward for me.
The digital nomad scene is definitely increasing. I was in Bali last year. It's massive there.
Yeah.
This, I must admit, for a holiday, is probably even better than Bali. It's way quieter.
Yeah.
It's much more chill. You can ride your moped around 20 minutes and you can get overtaken by a car.
Yeah.
And
the speed you go, mate,
yeah,
you'll get overtaken by a push bike.
I know. Hey, safety first.
But you're driving backwards. You're going that slow. I'm only joking.
Oh God, you're not though.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. So the digital nomad scene.
Tony the time traveller. Sorry, back
tomorrow. The digital nomad scene is big.
It's massive, mate.
And what you're doing with your house is you're setting up a little kind of digital nomad cult, basically.
Yes.
House, aren't you?
Yeah.
So you found some of these people already, and they are getting the opportunity to have a kind of a yoga holiday where they get to improve their skills, work around like-minded people, and help you create this stuff at the same time.
100%. And my work ethos, is that the right word?
Yeah.
Work, whatever it is. Yeah. I don't want nobody to start working until 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
I would rather them go and do yoga in the morning, go for a beach, swim, have a coconut, then come into the office at 12. I'll give a little team talk. We'll do a few hours work each day, maybe 3 or 4 hours work each day, work on the project. I think you'd get more done in those 3 or 4 hours than a week you would in London. I've worked in offices in London and marketing and sales, and you just get so distracted. You don't want to be there sometimes. You're doing it I'm trying to help people, or I want to give people the experience and show them the kind of lifestyle. And just to let anyone know, I'm still looking for other people that are into digital marketing. Again, they get free yoga, free food, free accommodation. All you need is money for a few coconuts and a couple of massages.
Wow.
A 3-month intern.
I wonder if you'll find a couple of people for that who will be listening to this podcast. We'll give out your details at the end, of course.
Yeah, totally. Please contact me.
And obviously, in terms of distraction...
That's what I love. Jet skis just flying past.
Yeah, I like a jet ski.
Yeah.
You can actually get a jet ski from here to Koh Samui.
Well, I was thinking about, but me and my friend were going to buy a jet ski. He's got a bar in Koh Samui, and I was living somewhere else, so we were just going to use a jet ski to travel to each other. But now I'm living here. I'm thinking you could just jet ski between islands.
You could.
And there's many more islands you can go and jet ski.
When we got the boat over here, we saw a few people jet skiing between the island. It wouldn't take you very long.
How long do you reckon? It takes 30, 40 minutes on a boat, some boats.
That's the 2 closest points, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
For an hour and a half, max.
I can't swim. I'm not the best swimmer. I can swim.
I know. That's the thing. I would be a bit nervous. The point I once,
Imagine
20 years ago when I was here in the full moon party days, I was on a boat between Koh Samui and Koh Phangan, between Big Buddha and Hat Rim, which is the closest point. And the boat broke down halfway between the islands. And they were like, "Don't worry about it." And this Thai guy jumped off the boat, dived in, and mended the boat. Great, we're off again. 5 minutes later, it broke down again, and he dived in again. He couldn't fix it. And then heard this massive clap of thunder, and we just stranded between the 2 islands. And they're close, but they're not that close.
Yeah.
And basically spent 2 hours just marooned, rocking in these huge waves between the islands. And then this little small boat had to come and rescue us.
No
but couldn't get close because it was such big waves.
No way.
That since then I've always been a little nervous in boats.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Mate, I'm the same. I jump in the water, but I'm not the best out in the ocean. I won't go far out. I don't know, but I want to go diving. Is that weird? Have you ever dived?
No.
No, I'd like to dive.
You're in the right place to do that, aren't you?
Yeah.
So in terms of the digital nomad house,
I like
are
it.
you going to ask them to abide by the same rules that you abide by in terms of not switching their phones on until 5 in the evening?
Have we spoke about this, or have you tuned into?
Well, I think you might have mentioned it, but it seems to me that some people, it will bring the best out in terms of productivity, I think, but they might not like it.
Yeah, totally. But I think the people that I'll attract will be the ones that thrive off of it. You know, if there was one person that was going to come along, she wanted to come and blah, 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 and a little bit of fear kicked into her head, and then she decided she didn't want to come. And rather than me trying, and she was amazing. She's organised. She's in the digital space. She knows all about marketing. She should have been like a golden ticket, you know. But that's the last person that I want. That's a bit of, like, lets a bit of fear stop them, and then starts talking about it and talking themselves out of it. I need people that are motivated to do it. People that do want to kind of be digital nomads, but also be detoxing from the digital space just as much, if that makes sense. Use it rather than let it abuse us. That's the way I want to kind of use it. So we will be doing things like that, but
so do your stuff in the morning, and then work for me until 5 o'clock, or work as part of the team until 5 o'clock, but don't start getting distracted by Instagram.
Yeah, totally.
And then at 5 o'clock do what you like.
Unless you're posting photos for me doing handstands on the beach.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's fine.
Yeah.
As long as you're making me money,
sticks
no problem.
Yeah, it's about money.
Do you know what? That is going to be such an interesting experiment on a human level, whether it gets the best out of these people, and from a business level, could be brilliant.
Yeah, totally. Well, have you heard of a place called Mind Valley? I'm sure you have.
No.
Mind Valley?
No.
I don't know why I was surprised then. Like, Mind Valley?
Valley?
You haven't heard of Mind Valley?
Say it again, I still haven't heard of it.
Mind Valley? Well, I think you might have heard of it over 3 seconds. So you've not heard of it?
No.
There's this place called Mind Valley. The reason why I say that, because it's for me, you've heard of Google, right?
Yeah.
Just getting clear. Because that's what Mind Valley is to me, like Google. It's like the biggest kind of self-development.
Do you mean... right. You don't mean Silicon Valley?
Well, no, this guy called Vishanesh, I think his name is. Basically, he lives in Malaysia. He's got this massive company called Mind Valley. You know, there's no kind of like office hours. People come in, work on projects. They sell like all like courses like Bob Proctor, Marion Williams. You know, all these kind of online courses, self-development, spiritual stuff. And I'm kind of nicking a few of his ideas from there, really. Like, to get a job there, you have to do for your CV, rather than writing out a boring bloody CV like you do nowadays to get a job. Yeah. To get a job there, you have to make a YouTube video. And you can if you go on Mind Valley's YouTube website and look at the creative ideas that people have had to try, because people actually now are hungry to go and work for it. Yeah. They want to be there, and that's the kind of environment I want to create.
That's really cool.
I want people to come in, and again, you're not waking up at 9 o'clock and you're looking at shit. You're waking up at 9 o'clock and you're, rather than update your status, you're reconnecting to your spirit or your soul, and then boom, I believe you'll produce a lot more. I think I know for me, why I'm over here, I produce more than I've ever done in my entire life. And so, like, it might look like I'm sitting on the beach doing yoga and meditating in a pair of thongs and dancing around drumming circles and doing nothing, but my productivity level is through the roof. I'm writing a book, hosting retreats, doing all this stuff. I think it's because of the environment and the lifestyle. So I could be wrong. Yeah. I'll see what happens. They might last a week.
Awesome. It reminds me of when I was at university, I was desperate to kind of get into radio, and I thought, well, my favourite radio station is Radio 1. I'd love to do work experience there. And I came up with an idea that basically there were 2 people who did work experience all summer at Radio 1, and they must have had thousands of entrants, to the extent when I got there, they said, oh, you were the guy who did that thing. It was such a brilliantly creative idea.
What was it?
I had a friend who was a brilliant digital graphic designer in those early days back in the mid-90s. And just like you know, we're feeding off these other people's good energy, we came up with this idea, which was basically looked just like a page out of the paper. And there was this feature, I think it's still got it, it's called Pass Notes, where you'd have like a feature on a different person each day, and a little photo of them, and then it was written as if it was like a kind of Q&A about that person. And I wrote it as an application for Radio 1. And then I think we printed it out, and we even kind of like burnt the edges of the paper to make it look like old newspaper kind of thing, and sent them off. And then all these applicants that they got.
And they interviewed you, and you end up...
then I went and did work experience for them.
Genius, mate. Richard Branson talks about stuff like that, doesn't he?
Does he?
You know all the crazy things that he's done over the years for his businesses. It's just thinking out of the box. Back to what I was saying earlier about, like, if you've got a little bit of a talent like me, flying a drone, I wouldn't sound the best at flying drones.
Yeah.
Email someone and get a free holiday in Cambodia from me. Just like be creative. I think it's just the way forward.
Yeah.
I love it. It's a great idea, Tone.
Yeah.
It's a really good one.
And what's interesting is I couldn't have done that without my mate, who was utterly brilliant at graphic design.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, another thing that Eben Pagan mentioned when I was listening to him yesterday is he talks about some pin factory examples. You say ask one person to set up a factory and make kind of little clothing pins, they'd probably be able to make a few pins a day, because there's like a long process that goes into making a pin, and you'd have to build all the machinery and everything else. If you've got 10 people who are experts in it, they can churn out millions of pins a day.
Yeah.
And what you've done is you're inviting people to come and stay here and kind of tap into all that creativity and hopefully create the environment without distraction where they can learn a bit more, improve themselves as well.
Totally, and the guys that come in, one of them's a videographer. He loves taking videos. He loves taking photos. What do I need? Videographer. Somebody that loves taking photos. The other person's a copywriter. He loves writing books. He loves writing. What do I need? Somebody to do it. You know, I want people to kind of thrive off of what their creativity is, and then use it together.
Yeah.
I think is it called The Charge by Brendan Burchard?
Right, I've actually seen him talk live. Brendan Burchard.
What was that like?
Do you know what? At first, he comes across as a bit of a cheesy American.
Yeah.
But he's good.
Yeah.
He is very, very good.
Yeah.
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 And he's particularly good at marketing as well.
Mate, I've learned a lot from so Eben Pagan
Yeah.
and Brendan Burchard were the courses that I invested in a few years back.
Right.
And I've studied their stuff over and over, book launches to you know, and I honestly feel the things, even this house, all these little things that they've kind of planted in my head are because of sitting down and investing in yourself. It's probably the best thing is to invest in yourself. Even if you haven't got any money, you can buy a book. So go and buy a book. And if you can't even afford a book, go and read a blog. You know, read somebody's blog about something that you want to do, making money online, for example, or like you just said, more energy, and study it, invest in yourself, and then you will get the results like tenfold.
So the charge, is that about marketing?
The charge is about energy, like charging, basically. Creating,
good. Well, this podcast is about energy.
Yeah, it's all about like, I think one of the best things I got from Brendan Burchard, he said like, you know, like an energy plant hasn't actually got the energy in it. They have to generate this energy, you know, they have to create this energy, and then they can use this energy. And he said it's the same with your body. You know, you might wake up without energy, but you can do like 10 things, like jump up, high five the ceiling, do a gratitude dance, run around, do some yoga, go for a bike ride, cycling, writing, anything to create the energy inside you. And I love it. And it's basically saying, it's like, take responsibility for your charge, for your energy, which for me it's just, that's a daily reminder. I wake up, even if I'm not in the mood, it's like, okay, just crack on and do the yoga, crack on and sit in front of the computer, and before you know it, you're in the zone. Your energy is rising, and you're away with it. So Brendan Burchard, I would recommend anything he's wrote.
Brilliant.
Really, really, really good. I've read all of his books, and he's just got a new one out, which I'm not really sure what it's called, but it's all about productivity, and I guarantee it'll be a brilliant book.
Right, well, The Charge, I'll put that on the Zestology book club on Facebook, which we're starting to get some quite good little interaction on there, actually. I think people would particularly like to hear that one because it's about energy, which sounds good.
Yeah.
And he's certainly got loads of energy. Yeah, if you see videos of his, you'll think the first 2 minutes, you'll think, oh, he's quite cheesy. It's quite American, but actually he's very, very good.
Well, one of his online courses that I bought, again, the same as Brendan, Eben Pagan, it's like, I got my investment back like by 10.
Did you? Brilliant.
Ridiculous. And you watch his videos and that energy that he's got, I've not seen him live, but that energy he's got, you're sitting down and you're learning from him. He just makes marketing and all these kind of complex things so simple.
Yeah. What about one tip then for living with more energy, vitality and motivation?
Lots of cocaine.
Avoid the nanobots.
Avoid the nanobots and go tantra drumming circles.
Well, that'll give you energy of a certain sort.
Certain?
Well, I mean, do you know what? It's been really good hanging out with you properly over the last few days, a little bit more than we have before. And I've seen there's no side, there's no edge to you. This is the real deal. You know, it's you're properly walking the walk. And considering you had issues with addiction, it's bloody great to see.
Oh, nice.
What would be one of those secrets that you'd be able to pass people on?
Meditation. It is, out of everything, it's always back to meditation.
I
do yoga, I love my yoga, you know, I do my gratitude lists, I do all my goal setting and stuff, but I think when you really, really break it down, meditation and mindfulness, getting to understand yourself, understand how the mechanism of your own mind works, removing this kind of this voice, this negative ego, whatever you want to label it, and just connecting to your true self. I would label that something like consciousness. People call it God, the divine intelligence, whatever, the universe, whatever you want to label it. It's just a name, but there is a place within all of us which I believe is just a pure energy. It goes beyond our blood, beyond our veins, beyond the bones. There's some kind of spark inside every human being on this planet, because when that spark is gone, you know, the body dies, it's dead. I know that the blood might stop pumping, the brain doesn't work, the heart gives up, whatever, but there's also some kind of, I believe, an energetic spark. And I found over 16 years of practicing meditation that it's probably the best thing, a daily practice. I'm not talking about go to a class once and chant Hare Krishna and then, you know, without being rude, I love all that stuff, but don't do that and then think you're going to be enlightened or clear the negativity in your own mind. You need a daily consistent practice, and the best way to do that is set an alarm, and you just do a meditation for 8 minutes a day. I don't know why 8 minutes, but it's a magical number. Studies show that just an 8-minute meditation practice over a period of about 30 days will start to change your neurological pathways inside the brain. Again, I've been doing it for 16 years, and sometimes I only do an 8-minute practice. That's the truth. Sometimes I'll sit there for an hour practicing meditation, and I honestly feel higher now than I've ever been in my entire life. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't eat meat. Again, all these things.
No yabba?
No, I'll do a lot of cocaine and yabba and crack, but that's, you know, we'll cut that bit out.
Yabba sounds intriguing.
Yeah, it's horrible. But
so
yeah, meditation.
You see how you feel on the day. Sometimes it'll be 8 minutes, sometimes it'll be more. You see how you go.
Yeah, sometimes 2 or 3 meditations throughout the day.
Yeah, brilliant.
But I would just definitely say meditate. It taps you into some different kind of place, and that's just where your natural energy is.
Yeah.
So forget about all the words I said, though, and all the labels and all the woo-woo, and we're having a laugh and a joke. Just, you know, if you want more productivity, or even if you're going through a bit of struggle right now, when your energy's low, just try meditation for 30 days. I challenge everybody to do it for 30 days, 8 minutes, and then send us a message after and see how it's changed. The results will be there.
It is counterintuitive, isn't it? I mean, you know, obviously last week's podcast was about meditation, and we went to that place in the jungle up in the north of Thailand, Faith and I, and did nothing all day apart from meditate, and it was hard. Can't say I enjoyed it, and yet felt unbelievable afterwards, and ever since.
I think those intense things, it's like a diet. I don't know what your views are on diets, but I have friends that come New Year's Eve, they'll go on a 6-week diet where they don't eat nothing, and they think it's great, and they're buzzing, and they're this is amazing, and then for the rest of the year they're eating sugar and shit, and then they wonder why they're crashing and they're up and down. And for me, it's like I would suggest to everybody, create a consistent daily practice on healthy food rather than have a diet. I don't know what your views are on that.
I totally agree.
I've done some of these diets and I think they're great, or not diets, or whatever you want to call them, detoxes.
Yeah.
But there's no point in doing it, and it's the same with meditation. You can come on my retreat, we will have a great time, I can show you the island, we'll do yoga, meditation, it'll be perfect. But if you go home and you don't have a daily practice, then you've just had a really nice holiday. Yeah. And that's cool, I'll take your money all day long. But I would rather people just find that place of just peace and love inside themselves. Yeah. And that only, I am now certain it only comes from a daily practice, just like healthy eating.
And obviously you mentioned the retreat. I have a feeling that some people might have listened to this and they might want to come. Are you willing to offer some kind of discount to Zestology listeners?
I don't know if they want to come, Tone, you know, golden beaches, the sun's really hot, these coconuts are really fresh and chilled, you know, it's just amazing, it's paradise. Do you think they really want to come?
You are a coconut addict. The addiction seriously has been changed.
I've had 3 this morning. I had 3 this morning after yoga. Yeah, definitely. I give anybody that's listening to Zestology £200 discount.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So if they just message me, you can send them. You can give my details, my links and stuff.
So what's your website?
My website is brettsyoga.com. So it's just Brett's Yoga, BRETTS yoga.com. There's actually a competition going on right now. If you've got an Instagram account, you can enter the competition. So you need an Instagram account to enter the competition, and you could win a free all expenses paid yoga holidays to Thailand. Right. But go to Brett's Yoga. If you're interested in a £200 discount, just message me, let them know you've listened to Tony's podcast, and I'd be more than happy to give people a discount.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, I've got a feeling that people might be booking on.
Yeah, amazing.
You might even have a couple of digital nomads coming to the house.
As long as they don't bring those nanobots, I'm happy.
Well, it might be a little bit like Big Brother.
Anyone into Tantra? Come.
Dear 4 in the Big Brother house. Trouble in paradise.
Brett's got a nanobot in his ass. What has he been doing with that?
Brett, we'll leave it there. Thanks, mate. Thanks,
Love
mate.
Loads,
really
man.
Brilliant. Yeah, thank you.
Love you.
thanks again to Brett Moran. What a life he's living out here. If you do want to go on his retreats, I think you'll have an amazing time. Now, as I said, I have a question to ask you because I'd quite like your help with setting up a new project that Dr. Steve and I are keen to work on. It's kind of related to zestology, but it's kind of a little bit different as well. And it's actually really two questions. Firstly, what's your biggest frustration? And secondly, what's your dream scenario or goal? What's the absolute dream for you? So what's your biggest frustration and what's your dream scenario or goal? This is for a new project that I'm working on. I'd love your feedback. If you wanted to email me, tony@tonywrighton.com, or get in touch on social media, but email might be better, tony@tonywrighton.com. And bear in mind, I'm out here for the next few days, but I will reply personally. And I'd really appreciate your help, and I'll let you know what we're planning. And how what we're planning might help you get closer to that dream scenario. I guess that's the key bit. So what's the absolute dream for you when you shut your eyes and think about where you might be in 6 months, 6 years, 60 years, whatever it might be? What's the dream scenario and what's the biggest frustration? Would absolutely love to hear from you. tony@tonywrighton.com. And that might just help this little project that Dr. Steve and I are considering doing. That's it. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Next week, I will be back in the cold of London, but I'm kind of looking forward to that as well. And until then, have a good week.